Okay, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to remind you, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands. God bless you both. Touch up.
Russell Moore, the referee. For Ibeh, it's his 4th consecutive bout inside this MGM Grand Bubble. Joe Tessitore ringside with Tim Bradley, Andre Ward, and our ace reporter, Bernardo Osuna. Mark Kriegel, is the label of next great American heavyweight too much, too soon on Jared Anderson?
No, what's the biggest problem in boxing? Fighters you don't know, fighters you don't care about. For Anderson, the hype, the idea of being the next great American heavyweight becomes his identity. That's a good thing. Big fighters need big expectations, fellas.
Dre, he says it's a good thing that it has become his identity of being the next great American heavyweight. When we visit with him, we constantly walk away saying he feels very comfortable, very secure, very contented. He's got a good way about him.
He does, and he looks very content, very comfortable in this first round. But to your point, you know, he's got a polarizing personality, big smile, and a lot of skill to go with it.
Right now, what I love from Anderson is his concentration right now. He has his eyes focused and sealed on Ibeh because he understands what he's up against. He understands that Ibeh has some power to hurt him.
Ibeh's last fight was in early October right here at the MGM Grand Bubble. It was a 6-round draw against the 2016 Italian Olympian, the undefeated pro prospect, Guido Vianello. Oh, there's an exchange, and Ibeh came with a straight left hand as they opened up. Anderson goes to the body with the jab.
This is not supposed to be an easy fight for Anderson. This is the fight that he wanted. Ibeh's a guy who doesn't have a lot of boxing experience, but that's what makes him dangerous. He's crude, he's awkward, and he's willing to fight. So let's see how Anderson responds to some early adversity.
And to add on that, Dre, he's very untraditional, you know, like he throws punches at odd angles. See him switch from southpaw to orthodox right in front of Anderson. Then all of a sudden he'll just explode with a big shot. So
can see blood coming from the nose of Kingsley Ibeh as Jared Anderson able to get that right hand in against the big 6'4", 276-pounder. Anderson goes to the body, goes back up top with a right hand.
Anderson, with the exception of the one shot he got caught with, is looking very sharp in this first round.
Significant amount of blood now coming from the nose of Ibeh.
And all of this is happening because Anderson has been disciplined with his left jab, his lead hand.
There it is.
But that's what
return fire from Ibeh.
That's what he's got to be careful for, that wide, awkward shot that Ibeh loves to throw.
Out of nowhere. If I'm Anderson right now, I'm going to be very selective with my shots. Anderson is getting comfortable head hunting, but the body is what he needs to work. Work the body, bring those hands down on the big man, and break him down.
Good start for the 21-year-old undefeated Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson outlanded Kingsley Ibeh 27-6 in that opening round. He was 14 of 25 on his power punches, Tim.
Yeah, check out these combinations that Anderson was able to land. Right hand, beautifully timed the jab of Ibeh. That's why he was able to land that shot. And again, a slapping right hand right there and a nice jab to follow up. Ibeh defensively is not that sound defensively, you know. He's a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of experience. He's just an explosive fighter in spots. So Anderson needs to be careful in there and be selective with his shots like he's doing right now.
Dre, Tim mentions the lack of overall experience for Kingsley Ibeh, limited as a boxer, but a former football player, and he's got that build.
Yeah, but a guy his size, that makes him dangerous. What he doesn't know makes him dangerous because he's not getting caught up in this skill game. He just wants to duck his head and land a big shot. And for a young fighter early in his career, that could be problemsome. So he's got to, and I'm talking to Anderson, just has to be disciplined and patient, like Tim said, and then he could potentially get the knockout.
It's interesting, we saw the corner of Jared Anderson. Bernardo, it included the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, Bud Crawford. What are they saying?
Well, Daryl Riley said, I know that Jared sees the openings I'm seeing, but I need him to settle down, don't rush, take his time and break him down.
Dre, something that you were mentioning in that first round.
Well, he's going to have to do, yeah, he's going to have to do that to soundly beat a fighter like Ibeh without taking any crazy risks. Like, you can get the job done impressively without getting hit with the wild shots that he's been hit with so far. And he's only gotten caught with 2 shots, but they were big shots.
There's that steady work with the jab.
But I do think the first round for Anderson was nearly a perfect round for him. A little anxious, but everything else was clicking.
Off balance that time as he missed with the right hand. Ibeh tried to come back with a right of his own.
But Joe, that right of his own, those are the kind of wild shots that I'm alluding to.
Awkward, off balance, non-conforming, constantly switching stances is Ibeh.
Yeah, he broke a rule. You're not supposed to throw a shot from that angle, but he throws it.
Kingsley Ibeh, originally from Africa, came to the United States at 16 years old. Talked to us about how long it's been since he's seen his brother and his mom in the course of the past 10+ years. As a college football player at Washburn University, had a cup of coffee with the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL. Coming to the end of 2. First 2 rounds in the bank for the undefeated Jared Anderson, the Toledo native who moved to Houston, Texas just before the holidays. Trains down there with Daryl Riley and Kay Karoma. Through 2 rounds, Dre, he's landing 48% of his jabs.
Yeah, that's the most important punch in boxing, and that's the most important punch for Jared Anderson tonight. See, this left hand that you see right here, this won't get you on a Sports Center top 10, but it will set up the punch that will get you on a Sports Center top 10. So he's got to stay disciplined with that left jab for the duration of this fight.
You see the little antics for both fighters, both guys trying to figure things out. But, you know, Anderson is systematically beating on Ibeh, slowly breaking him down, starting with that jab.
Well, that's what he told us, and I'm talking to Anderson. In the fighter meeting, he said, I want to break down the mind of Ibeh, and then the body will follow.
And that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Minute into round 3, his average fight is 1.7 rounds. His longest fight to date for Anderson was 2:22 of round number 4. Those 7 total fights have lasted 12 rounds.
And to that point, Joe, because Anderson hasn't gone a lot of rounds and hasn't been in a real tough fight yet, it's imperative that he stays focused and doesn't fall asleep, because Ibeh is looking for a big shot. Just like you see right there, he's ducking down, he's looking, he wants Anderson to make a mistake. Anderson has to stay focused for the duration of this fight.
And I believe that Anderson is, and that's the reason why you're seeing the single jabs by him. He's trying to get Ibeh to throw and get off balance so he can catch him on the way in.
Watch your feet. Watch your feet.
Ibeh smiling, saying, please just make a mistake so I can let this left hand go.
Look at that, perfectly placed right hand down to the body. Now Anderson saying, hey, you gonna switch southpaw? I can switch southpaw too.
Now Ibeh back to orthodox.
Good
That's
shot.
exactly what he was setting up right there. Looking for Ibeh to expose himself with his offense, and then boom, make him pay.
That shot knocked Ibeh back southpaw.
See that blood continuously coming from the nose of Ibeh. That started halfway through round number 1. And a big smile on the face of the undefeated 21-year-old Ohio native, Jared Anderson. Oh, to be 21 years old and in a cash-heavy heavyweight division, and a very top-heavy division that we will talk about when we return.
I see later in this fight, I see the right hand coming over the top and the right hand, and the left hook possibly finishing Ibeh.
Joe, Tim, and Dre with you here ringside as we get a peek at 7-0 Jared Anderson. You mentioned the jab. He has landed 35 of 81 thrown. Round number 4 scheduled for 6. Remember, the longest fight he has had to date is 2:22 of round number 4. You see the total jabs that we mentioned through 3 rounds. And total punches, he's outlanding Ibeh 65-12. Dre, this heavyweight division, obviously, you sit back at 21 years old. You got time. You got time. In the lower weight classes, and we're going to have a visit with Teofimo Lopez, you got an undisputed champion at 23. But here you got time because sitting there is Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And we know that soon we expect for an official word that they will be fighting in late spring, early summer, and possibly 2 fights. And there's Deontay Wilder still out there, and Andy Ruiz making a comeback, and familiar names like the veteran Povetkin and Parker and Usyk, who's a cruiserweight undisputed champion, moving up to heavyweight. He can take his time and put bricks in the foundation.
Yes, he can. And the beautiful thing about the heavyweight division is even though it is top heavy, there's a lot of top contenders that a young fighter can work his way to, you know, big name guys within the sport where they can make a decent amount of money, keep sharpening their skills, and prepare for when that moment comes.
Yeah, decent amount of money. Have you been reading the headlines as to what they think Fury and Joshua could be pulling down?
No, I have not.
Oh, well.
That's Mayweather money.
Widely reported that Fury and Joshua will fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world come late spring.
See, I think in these situations right here, the onus is on Jared Anderson because nobody expects Ibeh to win this fight, but the world is watching Anderson saying, show us something, give us a reason to get behind you, give us a reason to support you. So sometimes winning is not just enough. Yes, be smart, but he wants to make sure he closes the show in the right way.
It's time for a changeup. You know, he's got him used to the jab. Lead with the left hook as opposed to the jab. And I'm talking about for Anderson, that's what he should do.
Because Ibeh's doing what he's supposed to do. He's surviving right now. He said, hey, you won't do anything, I won't do anything.
Back here live in Vegas, strong night of action on Top Rank. Richard Comey, the former lightweight champion who was knocked out by Teofimo Lopez 14 months ago, makes his return. It comes in our main event later tonight against Jackson Marinez. We also have Adam Lopez and Jason Sanchez in a very important 10-round featherweight fight. And you see right there Comey in the locker room. He had a visit with Teofimo Lopez, who is here ringside. We will hear from the undisputed champion in just a little bit. This is round number 5. The undefeated Jared Anderson in complete control. He has outlanded Kingsley Ibeh to this point, 79-15.
Tess, I like what I'm seeing from Anderson. You know, he's been very patient. You know, these are growing pains for him. Not a problem. You know, this is the longest I've seen him in a fight. Ibeh is not an easy guy to face, man. You know, he's a guy that has punching power. He's a guy that explode at any moment with a shot. Anderson is doing the right thing, using his jab, staying composed, and just waiting on the right opportunity to land the shot.
It is now the longest fight of his career, Timmy, as we're here into round 5.
When Ibeh's on the ropes like that, trying to rest and buy time, I think that's a good time for Anderson to pick up his left hand, pick up his jab, not just to the head, but to the body. Stab him to the body, steal win from him, and send a message to Ibeh that I'm not going to let you rest. Yeah, I'm going to be smart, but I'm going to steal win if you want to sit on these ropes like that.
And to add to that, I believe that he needs to add some more feints to his game as well. You know, get Ibeh to commit off the feints.
You see in the corner of your screen what's coming up a week from right now, and that is Miguel Berchelt against Oscar Valdez in what is one of the most anticipated Mexican versus Mexican warrior fights we've had in some time. You know, the great history and tradition of those countrymen fighting through the years. 5 times in the last 20 years, the fight of the year has been between Mexican fighters, and that world championship fight at 130 pounds will be on ESPN next week. And look at Jared Anderson.
Anderson doesn't really fight like a heavyweight.
No, he doesn't.
He's like a middleweight trapped in a heavyweight's body. He's got that mentality of quickness, speed, and flair. He doesn't lumber around like a typical heavyweight. Decent shot from Ibeh right there that grazed the temple of Anderson.
Well, that is something that is said of the #1 heavyweight in the world as well. Tyson Fury, who at 6'9", 270+ pounds, is often mentioned as a guy who fights and has the agility and nimbleness of a middleweight. And it was Jared Anderson who was his chief sparring partner when he got ready for Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I think Fury's a light heavyweight trapped in a heavyweight's body.
Back here live in Vegas, 6th and final round in our heavyweight opener. Jared Anderson has been in complete control, dominating Kingsley Ibeh. 7-0, 21-year-old heavyweight prospect. Could be his first distance fight. 7 knockouts in his 7 wins.
You know, if there's nothing there for a fighter when he's dominating, keep doing what you're doing and get the decision win. But if there's opportunity to step it up and close the show, you should do that. And I think there is opportunity for Anderson. He has to be smart, and I can't say that enough, but there is opportunity.
Just tagged him with a right hand. Ibeh is coming forward now. Perhaps that's where the opportunity comes for.
That right uppercut to the body from Anderson was mean a few seconds ago.
2-punch combination from Jared.
So you see the reaction from Ibeh. He's starting to break him down. That's what I mean when I say there's opportunity. Don't let him sort of, you know, steal the fight by just, you know, going the distance by kind of staying on the ropes and making you think he's going to do something. Press him and make him prove it.
What you're saying is that he just need to get a little bit more consistent with his jab and start piecing punches together instead of throwing one shot at a time.
And Anderson will be in range to get hit.
Just like he's doing here.
His offense is a lot more explosive than Ibeh's.
Just as he's doing right here. Needs to keep piecing them together.
Significant amount of blood now coming from both the nose and the mouth of Kingsley Ibeh. Halfway through this 6th and final round, can Jared Anderson keep the knockout streak alive? 3-punch combination.
Jeez.
Ibeh's ready to go. You just got to give him a little help.
Push him out the door, Andre.
More work from that jab of Anderson.
Good shot.
Russell Mora is telling Kingsley Ibeh, you got to show me something. He's thinking about stopping the fight with the damage Ibeh is taking. Big guy, former football player, 6'4", 276, and he's absorbing a lot of punishment, and a big left hand will end the night. Jared Anderson, 8 for 8, explosive finish.
He's still out, Joe. He's still out.
Hurt bad.
Kingsley Ibeh is laid out. Medical attention into the ring immediately as the 21-year-old heavyweight sensation Jared Anderson absolutely floors him here in the 6th round.
You know, Anderson being very smart right there, feigning before he actually attacked. Nice block right there, and came back with offense and caught him with a nice, beautiful short left hook in the inside, right on the chin. Ibeh was pretty much ready to go, you know, and we said early on that he had to get a little more consistent with his offense, and if he gets a little bit more consistent with his offense, he could get the stoppage.
Yeah, he closed the show just like we said, and you can see in the eyes of Ibeh that he was ready to go, but, you know, he's been around the game long enough to know how to survive, and Anderson didn't give him that opportunity. A great step back, beautiful right hand to the top of the head, and a left hook that literally turned the lights out of Ibeh. That was the SportsCenter type 10 shot. Top 10 shot that we were talking about.
Oh, you are going to see that everywhere. That right hand to the temple and then the short left. And you could see the eyes roll back in Kingsley Ibeh's head. He was out before he hit the ring.
Yes.
And it's great to see him up. All right, let's make it official. Jared Anderson does it again. Here's Mark Chinook.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside MGM Grand, this bout comes to a stop at 2 minutes, 19 seconds of the 6th round. For your winner by knockout, Jared, the real big baby, Anderson.
8-0, 8 knockouts, 6th round KO from the guy originally from Toledo, Ohio, Jared Anderson.
This is a brutal beating
Jared Anderson's putting down, and it ends in a TKO victory in 5. And knockdown scored!
Efe Ajagba gets the stoppage and the type of performance he needed tonight.
Clubbing shot has him going sideways across the ring. This fight is over.
Tessitore, did they both look 6'4" to you when they stood face to face?
You know, it's interesting because Jared looks so much bigger.
Bigger, right?
But you look over at Teslenko, and he's only 213 pounds, but it is on a tall frame. Anderson goes 240.
Anderson choosing to come out in the southpaw stance. I told you, is ambidextrous. He can actually fight both ways, orthodox or southpaw.
There's a left hand to the body, left hand upstairs as well. Very accurate early on from that southpaw stance. Teslenko comes firing back. Right hand to the body from the Ukrainian.
Teslenko has a great right hand. Quick on the trigger with it. He does it upstairs and he does it downstairs, as you can see.
Think about that European styles. They don't cock the right hand. They just shoot it right where it is. And oftentimes American fighters aren't ready for it because they're used to seeing it before it comes, not when you're facing a guy with this kind of ability.
Nope, there it is again. Ooh,
comes at short range.
That last shot from Anderson got Teslenko's attention for sure.
Yeah, that right hand, as many of his right hands, left hand, as many of them do.
I don't think Teslenko planned that he's going to be facing the southpaw. But the good thing, and to his credit, is he does have an extensive amateur background. Ooh. Ooh. Jared got caught right there.
Yeah, when it crosses that threshold to the inside, that's happened twice now.
I like what Anderson is doing. He's not just reaching for the head. He's taking that left hand straight to the solar plex of Teslenko.
You can also see some red on that spot, Dre. USA chant has started up here at Madison Square Garden as this place is now filling up in anticipation for Lomachenko and Comey.
Anderson just better be careful not to walk in, straight in.
Yes.
That right hand is waiting on him of Teslenko. There it is.
Combination from Jared Anderson sends Teslenko back. So you say the opportunity exists for Teslenko, but you see the power and the skill of Anderson. Fun to have the heavyweights in the ring at MSG, isn't it? Boxing back in the big room. Good finish by Anderson at the end of one. Based on this year, 6-0 this year, and sensational every time out, Tim, many believe he will be named Prospect of the Year.
No doubt in my mind he was going to be Prospect of the Year. And you got to account also for the age of the young man. Not only is he busy, but he's a young prospect. And putting on performances like that, I mean, it was a well-matched fight, don't get me wrong. But the way he did it is what impressed me most.
Hey, Timmy, I thought Keyshawn was a Prospect of the Year.
No, not yet. He's in my top 10 already.
Okay, all right.
I'll let you know that.
All right, thank you, man. Just get it straight.
In that first round, Jared Anderson had a 30-10 connect advantage.
Anderson's corner told him to settle down, and those were the right instructions because he took some unnecessary shots. Teslenko's not a guy that you just don't respect. So you see Anderson being a little bit more deliberate this round, and you see the payoff. He's getting his. Teslenko is not getting his.
Heavyweight
Not
from
landing any
Toledo,
shots.
Ohio, Dre, who's gotten rid of all 10 opponents.
Well, I could tell right away, Anderson definitely watching film. We discussed it a little bit in the fighter meeting, and I said, well, champ, what did you see? And he said, well, he does have some heart. I said, I don't think so.
Right hand, left hand, Teslenko crumbles to the ground.
Yep.
It is over. I mean, that was pure power from Jared Anderson. 11-0, 11 knockouts. He says, keep asking the question. Is he the next great heavyweight?
Test, that came because he settled down. The first round, he was too anxious, and it was a 50-50 affair for the whole round. Teslenko got some of his, Anderson landed some shots, and when he settled down and started setting things up, then you saw the difference. He landed the clean shot, fight over with.
What was impressive to me about this victory is the fact that Anderson started so quickly. Normally, heavyweights take time to warm up. He didn't take any time at all. He pressed forward, he knew what his playing plan was, and he executed it.
That's how he felt. He's in MSG on Heisman night. He wanted to make a statement, and the statement he made. Anderson just taking his time, jabbing, blinding Teslenko so he can land that big shot. That shot, he threw that shot in the first round but wasn't able to land it. Here we see again, just a flick, eyes closed from Teslenko. He thought another jab was coming, but it was a right hand to the temple. And then you see the big man go down, and you see Anderson, Teslenko, he got up, but he was done. And that was a great stoppage from the referee. But again, it was set up. It was intentional, and he was mindful about what he was doing, and this is the kind of results you get.
Let's make it official.
All
11-0, 11 knockouts. Timmy, I think it's almost more impressive to even watch it in real speed, just so you can see the power come through the glove. Look what we're talking about here.
Woo.
Right there, did you hear it?
Yes, I did. That's the sound of leather in a cast hitting the head of another man.
This is a brutal beating that Jared Anderson's putting down, and it ends in a TKO victory in 5. And knockdown score!
Efe Ajagba gets the stoppage and the type of performance he needed tonight.
Clubbing shot has it going sideways across the ring. This fight is over.
Gentlemen, schedule the box 10 rounds. Most of all, protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves, good luck.
George Arias, just 5'11", New York Golden Gloves champion back in 2014, facing his third straight undefeated opponent. Has a herky-jerky style, but is athletic. Tim, yesterday we waited nearly an hour for our production meeting to get underway with Jared Anderson, only to find out he was involved in a car accident with his team yesterday. A motorist ran a stop sign, T-boned the car that Jared was in. Fortunately, he was not hurt, but he was really bothered by it. And within 24 hours of going out to perform and fight on national TV, and your mind is so locked in, obviously, that's a great concern.
Not on his mind. You know, I spoke with him in the dressing room, and I asked him that same question. I said, where your mind at? He was just like, I'm so locked in, man. Y'all was yesterday. Today is a new day.
So he got the
fight
reset.
on my hand. Yes, he got the reset. No doubt about it.
Tell us about George Arias and what you expect out of him against Big Baby.
Tons of movement. You know, he reminded me of Mike Tyson when I watched him on film. You know, weaving in and out. He used to have a forward, more aggressive style, but just lately, he had a little hiatus and he came back now. Now he's fighting a little bit more off the back foot. So tons of movement, active with his hands when he gets busy. But he's going to be extremely defensive tonight. and Jared's going to have to hunt him down, cut him off to be able to knock him out.
Tyson, you say because of the movement, but not because of the power. 7 knockouts among his 18 fights.
So Jared don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
7 knockouts. Jared's going to attack his body. He's going to slow those legs down by going down and committing downstairs. That's how you disarm a mover.
Right now he's throwing out that long jab as Jared Anderson. 6'4", good frame, very athletic. Puts the right hand behind it that time against the movement of Arias.
Arias trying to buy his time right now. I mean, he's trying to take a look, trying to gauge the speed and his distance. He's trying to get comfortable, make himself comfortable to be able to let his hands go. Right now, he feels that heat coming from Anderson, and he's not willing to commit.
There's that steady jab we saw moments ago. Right back to it is Anderson. So many times you think about the heavyweight division, some of the athletes and the big men that we see that have blossomed in recent years, and they may be late to boxing. A big man who is in another sport, finds his way to boxing, finds success. Not the case with Anderson. Lifelong boxer. You can see the amateur pedigree and how much things are ingrained. And here his team saying, stay on that stick, utilize the jab. Wide sweeping right hand, goes to the body with the right hand.
Jared already has his timing down already. He's timing that head movement of Arias. He's looking to land a right hand and left hook.
Timmy, it was interesting to hear the contrast in the corners here of our heavyweight fight between Jared Anderson and George Arias. In the corner of Arias, Leon Washington said, hey, listen, you got to fight. You just got to fight. He was only 3 of 14 in his total punches. Meanwhile, Derry Riley, the longtime trainer of Jared Anderson, says, you're not going to hear me say much. Don't worry about it. You just keep doing that with the jab. You're going to find a home for things. Bernardo.
I just spoke with Leon Washington, and part of what he was saying in the corner was fight like Frazier. Get in there and make it a fight. And it reminded me of Major League when he said, hit like Mays, run like Hayes. Well, he looks like Ali, but he needs to fight like Frazier.
Yeah, he needs to bob and weave and throw a left hook like that. Just lunge with it and see what can be accomplished. That was a little Frazier-esque. But in that first round, Anderson was 17 of 51. Unlike the first round, Timmy, that we saw back on Heisman night, in watching a heavyweight in Jared Anderson against a veteran in Jerry Forrest land 54 of 114 punches thrown. A heavyweight throwing 114 punches.
But you know why he can do that, right? Most heavyweights are fat and lazy. They don't want to run. They don't want to go in that road work. Well, this young man, he runs for fun, Tess. He'll put in 6-7 miles of road work every single morning, if need be.
You can see the results when you look at his body in that frame at 6'4", checked in at 247 pounds on the scale yesterday.
See that lean back right there? That's just extremely dangerous, especially when you're fighting against a taller opponent that has longer arms. He can reach you with that shot. Arias came close right there. He's nipped the temple of Anderson, but again, I'm not worried about it. It's not a whole lot of power on those shots.
He comes swinging with that lunging left hook again. Back to the jab. Try to come over the top with a right-handed Arias.
Tess, it might take one of those shots to wake up Anderson and put him into third or fourth gear.
Here's that lead left hook from Arias. Uppercut, left hook combination. You were calling that out moments ago, Timmy.
Yeah, that's the shot that he wants. I mean, when his trainer asked, he's like, did you see it? Yeah, he laughed. Yes, he saw it. The uppercut is available for Anderson. And the reason why it's available is because Arias is leaning forward. You know, he's bobbing and weaving and, you know, moving side to side. But when he decides to attack or try to commit, he leans forward first and then he throws a punch. There it is again. He leans forward. That uppercut will be placed there real soon.
Anderson throwing out that southpaw jab. Right-handed fighter, but naturally left-handed, and now digging that right hand to the body from that southpaw stance. Joe and Tim Bernardo ringside here as we see round number 3. We haven't seen that in the last 5 opponents for Jared Anderson. Each of the last 5 was dismissed in the second round, but here is George Arias, originally from the Dominican Republic, fights out of the Bronx. The Gentleman is his nickname. 18-0 with 7 knockouts. 5'11" against the big-framed 6'4" Jared Anderson. Coming up next will be our main event as Shakur Stevenson makes his debut as a lightweight. This a WBC title eliminator. Notable fighters said no. They took a pass on it, like Cruz and Zepeda and Kambosos. But Shuichiro Yoshino said, yes, I'm up for it. The undefeated contender, who's ranked number 4 in the WBC, who's off of back-to-back impressive victories, comes here to Newark, New Jersey to face the pound-for-pound elite Shakur Stevenson. That is coming up next.
Tess, you know the kid in the classroom that gets bored and the curriculum is not tough enough for him and he goofs off.
Yeah, they go on to be boxing broadcasters.
That's what you're seeing right now. You know, Anderson, to me, he's fighting kind of like a days ago. He's taking his time, but he's bored. He's not being challenged at all.
He's not threatened by the lack of power and aggression from Arias.
It's time for him to step up a grade, maybe 2 grades. It's time for him to get in that contender status and start facing the top fighters of the heavyweights of today.
Tim, last week, you, Andre, Mark Kriegel, Bernardo, and myself were sitting back and we were watching Anthony Joshua's fight. Yes. At one point, we then went on the air and you said you felt that the Anthony Joshua you were watching, that Jared Anderson would be ready for that kind of guy now.
Right now.
Do you stick by that statement?
I stick by that statement. You know, I believe that Anthony Joshua is no longer competing. He's doing it for the money. And the reason why I say that is because his performance beforehand, when he fought against Usyk, he had a better performance against Usyk. Wow, big shots right there.
Short thudding shots from Anderson. Arias absorbing punishment and has to tie up.
He had a better performance against Usyk. Then he changed his trainers, and he has the worst performance, I believe, of his career. No sense of urgency whatsoever.
Arias looks like he's unsteady here in the final 30 seconds of round 3, Tim.
Inexperience from Arias. I know he's undefeated. I see the record, but I mean, you look at the guys that he's faced. He hasn't faced much stiff competition, and it's showing right here.
Right hand to the body, combination with the right hook, and then the left uppercut. Anderson clipping him. Arias in trouble against the ropes. Right hand comes in. Arias stands up to it, but he's going to be wobbling back. Look at how unsteady he is getting back to that corner. That's it. George Arias was pleading with his corner, Leon Washington, to give him another round. Leon said, no, no. And you can see the battering, the swelling, the cut from the power punches that were delivered in round 3. It is a TKO victory for Jared Anderson.
So Anderson did cut the ring off, started landing, switch southpaw. You know, he can fight from southpaw or orthodox. But then he takes a small little angle right there to be able to land that left uppercut right up the middle, splitting that guard. And you see the funny walking back here to his corner. Beautiful shot right on the chin, splitting that guard. Take that jab right there, then a follow-up shot right there. Then clipped him high on the head.
The 2 left hands.
Had him out of, he had him out of sorts.
Tim, the 2 left hands that came from short range. Listen to these. It doesn't take much with a man that big. And there's how it ended. To put forth damage. Mark Chinook makes it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside the Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey, the blue corner informs referee David Fields at the conclusion of round number 3 that their fighter could no longer continue. Therefore, your winner by technical knockout, and now the WBO International and US WBC heavyweight champion, From Toledo, Ohio, Jared, the real big baby, Anderson.
14-0, 14 knockouts. Tim Bradley and others say put him up against anybody except that very top tier of heavyweights. Jared Anderson continues with that label of the next great one.
This is a brutal beating that Jared Anderson's putting down, and it ends in a TKO victory in 5. And knockdown score!
Efe Ajagba gets the stoppage and the type of performance he needed tonight.
Clubbing shot has him going sideways across the ring. This fight is over.
Okay, fellas, keep your punches up above this. Obey my commands and protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up, go back. Good luck to both of you.
Joe Tessitore, Tim Bradley, Andre Ward with you ringside from here at the Osage Casino.
Joe.
This the first top-ranked show outside the MGM Grand bubble since the sport returned in the midst of the pandemic.
Efe.
Good crowd being allowed in, mask mandated, and it's nice to be in front of a live crowd again with heavyweights in the ring. Round number 1 between Howard and Ajagba. Tim, you did not like the way Efe Ajagba looked in his last fight, September of this past year in Vegas, when he won a 10-round unanimous decision against Jonathan Rice.
Yeah, he just wasn't sure of himself in that fight, and you know, he didn't really produce a whole lot of offense like I'm used to seeing him do in his previous fights. But tonight I'm looking for him to get a little bit more busier with his jab and just pick up the work rate. That's his style. 80-something punches a round.
Brian Howard, a 10-year pro. He's fought mostly at cruiserweight. This is his 3rd fight at heavyweight. Moved up to the division in 2019. He's had gaps of inactivity in his career.
Work out of there, fellas. Let him go, Brian.
See, right there, you saw Ajagba. He shot the right hand after the jab, but you see him, he fell in.
Hey, listen.
You know, he needs to anchor down that back foot so he can maximize the power and not lunge forward after shooting the right hand.
Your team Ajagba is just trying to loosen up
Watch the back of his head, Efe.
their fighter and let him know that the power's
Punch your way
there.
out of
That's
that.
one of the hardest things to convince a power puncher of is that the power is not going
Step
anywhere.
back clean, no
You can
punching,
supple
don't
your
hit
upper
me. I
body.
got you, I got you.
You can loosen things up and set the power up. Believe it'll be there, just don't telegraph it. That's what the team is working on.
Dre, you mentioned the team. He was with Ronnie Shields for the first 13 fights of his career. This now his 2nd fight with K. Baroma. Signed with Top Rank in August, and he's managed by the veteran Jay Prince. And interestingly, he's gotten quality sparring with another top heavyweight prospect, the guy who many think may be the next great American heavyweight, and that's 21-year-old Jared Anderson down there in Houston, who just won his 9th fight, 9-0 with 9 knockouts. About an hour ago, there's a right hand from Efe. Right hand backs up Howard.
Watch the back of his head, Efe. Stop! Step back. Let him go, Brian. All right.
See, that right hand was nice. It was set up by the jab, a blinding jab. He left it out there just a second. It came behind with the right hand just like that.
Comes with another right hand.
But the only problem after that, he falls in and he allows Howard to tie him up.
Howard trying to fight back off the ropes. We'll show you those right hands when we return after this quick break as we come to the end of one. Efe Ajagba, the 2016 Olympian who lives and trains out of Houston, Texas. He had 8 power connects in round 1, including a couple of solid right hands, Dre.
And that right hand started to find a home for Ajagba on the chin of Howard, and Howard had no answers. Here we see a nice 2-flick jab that occupied Howard, and that right hand got through very clean. And several more right hands like that landed toward the end of the round for Ajagba. Let's see if he can follow up.
Jabs to the body.
Stop! Easy, let him up. Watch your head.
He was a
Watch your
soccer
elbow.
player growing up. And then when he was 17 years old, Timmy, he was cutting wood, he was working at a bakery, and there was an incident where he was mocked and threatened by a guy who's described as a muscular bodybuilder type. Well, all of a sudden, one straight right hand from Efe, and he decided to give boxing a try. The guy was laid out. He would watch Vladimir Klitschko fights, had 43 amateur fights. We told you 2016 Olympian, scored a first-round KO in the Olympic Games, lost in the quarters. His father didn't want him to box. He told him, stick to the bakery.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he decided, you know, to box, and I'm glad his father is supporting him on it because he is very talented in the sport, you know, an Olympian, and he's trying to work his way to a world championship, a heavyweight world championship. So, you know, I like his progress so far. I like what he's doing with his jab right now, switching levels, changing levels with his jab. You know, when you occupy a fighter with his jab, you don't allow him to get in his rhythm. You take his rhythm away from him just by hitting him on the body or the shoulders, even down to the body. You don't necessarily have to land a jab to the face of your opposition or to Howard's face.
Stop! Step back. Step
Even
back.
though Howard is 15-4, he's not a bad fighter.
No, he isn't.
He's got good offense, but if you look at his history, he has trouble when he starts to get hit. He doesn't take the punches well. He's been stopped several times, and then he goes in a shell like you see him in right now.
Got a late start to the game. Didn't fight until he was 26 years old. Didn't turn pro until just before his 30th birthday. And we want to send along our condolences to the entire Howard family as he just buried his mom 4 days ago. It has been very hard for him to keep his emotions in check during this week of preparing for a fight. Signed the contract, wanted to keep his word, wanted to keep his commitment, but he lost his beloved mother, Darlene, within the past week.
Keep him up.
Services were earlier this week back home, his original home of Florida. He's been living and training in Philadelphia.
Time!
Top-ranked boxing pool on DraftKings for a shot at $10,000 in prizes. All you have to do is answer a series of questions on tonight's title fight between Smith Jr. and Vlasov. Get enough correct and take home your share of 10 grand. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up with the promo code TOPRANK. Our world title fight following this heavyweight co-feature between Ajagba and Howard. Round number 3 scheduled for 10. Ajagba with a 20-13 connect advantage. Landed flush right hands in the opening rounds.
Brian Howard has a real opportunity to land a big right hand on Ajagba, but again, when Ajagba starts to step up his offense, Howard allows him to take the playback and he goes in a shell. He's got to believe in himself because these opportunities don't come around very often.
Let him up. Keep it up.
One of the things that Howard needs to do, he needs to bag up Ajagba. Ajagba, I'm noticing he's comfortable coming forward, but when he gets that heat on him, you know, he panics a bit, especially when you get close to him.
Well, the team of Howard said as much in the fighter meeting. They said, we know he doesn't like to go backwards. I said, well, your man, speaking about Howard, he's a boxer, so can you make him go forward? He said, if I see it, I'll tell him to do it, and I think he can, so we'll see. Don't think that's in Howard's temperament.
Oh! Are you kidding me?
That's it.
Thunder strikes, and it comes from Efe Ajagba. Absolutely devastating knockout, one-punch power.
And we see Howard standing in place. Ajagba got a full steam, a full step to get the power and the leverage that he needed, and the punch lands right on the ear of Howard, and it turned his lights out, and it sounded like a gunshot. That's what it sounded like ringside.
Look how his body twisted up and his legs and everything, and now his head
that's natural power, and it's hard to get a fighter like this to not live and die by that, to learn how to do other things. The team is working on it. If they can get Ajagba focused where he's not just living and dying by the power, he's going to be a very, very dangerous man to beat.
Tim, did you see the legs?
I did see the legs, but at the same time, let's listen to this next one in real sound.
Down! That's it. That's it. Done.
My goodness.
You can hear Tony Krebs saying, that's it, and calling for the doctor literally a half a second after impact. But let's make it official with Mark Chinook.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside Osage Casino Hotel, Tulsa, Oklahoma, this bout comes to a halt at 1 minute 29 seconds of round number 3. For your winner by knockout, the one and only Efe Ajagba.
Once again, folks, I want you to listen to this knockout by Efe Ajagba. The shotgun blast of power generated by his right hand coming off that 6'6" frame and the torque of 240 pounds.
Down! That's it. That's it. Done. Come on, son. You all right?
He was out before he hit the canvas.
Yes, he was.
Down! That's it.
Yes, he
That's it.
was.
Done.
There are things that this sport produces,
Efe,
that this sport delivers, that is like nothing else. The sound of that knockout is on the short list.
This is a brutal beating that Jared Anderson's putting down, and it ends in a TKO victory in 5. And a big knockdown scored!
Efe Ajagba gets the stoppage and the type of performance he needed tonight.
Clubbing shot has him going sideways across the ring. This fight is over.
Okay, gentlemen, you got your instructions earlier. Give us a spirited, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Both your trunks are good. Touch your gloves. Go to your corners. Good luck.
There it is, the instructions from Gary Ritter, and both follow them to a T. So Joseph Darmos, the former European and Hungarian cruiserweight champion, fights behind a high guard, and Efe Ajagba, he's returning from elbow surgery. Tim, both elbows required surgery. Says the first time since July 2019 that I'm at 100%, and you can expect volume punching from me.
Yeah, the first time I seen him and fell in love with him is with Efe Ajagba, is because he was a machine. He's throwing 70, 80 punches around and being a heavyweight and being as strong as he is. But things just tend to slow down for him. I'm expecting some rust. Being out the ring for a very long time. Oh, that uppercut right there buzzed.
Yes, you could just see like Darmos was like, where am I? It was short and precise. Sometimes it doesn't take much when you're that powerful. You just have to place it right.
It's all about timing. Hit him right on the button, right on the kisser, right on the chin, and it's lights out. And it's also the punch that you don't see is the one that definitely ultimately hurts you the worst.
Second fight in the United States for Joseph Darmos. His first was a 6-round knockout loss, technical knockout loss, against Alfonso Lopez. That was in Houston in December of last year. You see that body work from Efe Ajagba. Man, Darmos is slow.
Ajagba slow as molasses too. Both of them are slow. But I can just tell you
levels of slow.
But I can just tell you this. I think Ajagba, honestly, being out of the ring for some time, he's been working on his technical skill, and that's what you're seeing right now. You're trying to see he's trying to improve on his technical ability, not just being a stiff 1-2 fighter, trying to mix up his attack from the head to the body, using various shots. Like, he didn't have an uppercut. You know, last time I saw him, he didn't even own an uppercut. But I've seen it twice.
He got that
so
with
far.
the surgery. It comes with the elbow surgery.
Oh,
they do that now.
Oh, nice
He got
uppercut.
good insurance.
He got do that.
It came with the uppercut. Oh, there's a nice looping right hook from Efe Ajagba. Darmos trying to dig the body. Ooh, nice right uppercut once again from Ajagba. Darmos answering with the same shot. And a short left just pushes him into the ropes.
That's called head control right there. That's what you do. You know, yeah, it looked like a left hand, but he put it on his side of his head and he moved him. You understand that the head, wherever the head goes, the body will go with it. So it's a beautiful move right there and tactic used by Ajagba.
Ooh, nice right uppercut again from Ajagba.
All these taller fighters fighting these shorter men. That's a key weapon against a shorter fighter.
Especially when he leans in like that.
Oh, yeah.
He's set up for that uppercut. Oh, he finally blocked one with the gloves. Oh, that looping right hand from Efe Ajagba. Pedraza described it this way. He said, the first time I fought at 140 pounds, it was against Jose Pedraza, and I felt those growing pains. And he says, I'm going to make Richard Comey feel the growing pains coming up to 140 now.
Hey, but the one thing's for sure, I think what Richard Comey is he does have the size to be in the weight class, but
Yes.
did his power come up with him?
All right, you see the legs of Darmos? They did not look good after that second right hook that Ajagba landed, and then he landed an uppercut. Ajagba starting to tee off here on Darmos against the ropes, and it's the body shot that finally puts him down.
I love it. I love what I'm seeing. I mean, it's not much resistance. Darmos isn't the toughest.
Hands up. You want to go?
Home? He said, you want to go home? That's what Efe Ajagba wants to send him back to Hungary.
It's about to be over, man. I'm just letting you know right now. I like the little technical moves from Efe Ajagba, honestly. You know, I would love to see him put more punches and combinations. He's tapped.
Oh, and that right to the temple ends the fight. And, I mean, look, Ajagba did what he was supposed to do against an overmatched opponent.
Yeah.
Gets the stoppage in the second round.
But it was clean. It was clean. He didn't take any punches. He didn't you know, Ajagba didn't take any offense from Darmos. So that's the beautiful thing about it. I mean, he could have went out here and probably blew him out in the first round, made a whole lot of mistakes. But he stayed behind the game plan, stayed poised.
He couldn't defend himself.
Yeah, first knockdown. Ajagba, he understands. He probably could have took him out like I told you in the first round, but you put the high guard up, what I always tell you, there's gaps on the top, there's gaps down below, there's gaps in between. Ajagba heavy-handed. You know, he has two healthy arms now. Coming around the guard, just beating right there on the head, on the temple. Don't look like much, but trust me, that hurts.
This is how it ended, Tim.
And just more of the same. The referee understood just by the body language of Darmos that he didn't want to be here. So he just saved them pretty much and just, you know, stepped in and stepped the match as he took that second knee. Coming around the guard, there it is again. Boom, clipped him right on the chin, on the temple, excuse me. Jab. Three-piece, come around with the right hook again, right on the ear. And that was all she wrote. That was enough for the referee to step in and save this man, Darmos.
Unlucky 13 knockout for Jozsef Darmos. He becomes the 13th victim for Efe Ajagba in 16 victories. And you see Kate Karoma with that Top Gun shirt, because that's what he wants Efe Ajagba to be in this weight class. Mark Chinook with the official time of the stoppage.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma, referee Gary Ritter calls a stop to this bout at 1 minute 15 seconds of round number 2 for your winner by technical knockout, Efe, the silent roller, Ajagba.
The silent roller against the slow roller as Efe Ajagba takes the win tonight by stoppage. And we have one more fight when we return.
This is a brutal beating that Jared Anderson's putting down, and it ends in a TKO victory in 5. And a big knockdown score!
Efe Ajagba gets the stoppage and the type of performance he needed tonight.
Clubbing shot has him going sideways across the ring. This fight is over.
Fellas, we've been over the rules. Obey my commands. Protect at all times. Trunks are good. Touch them up. Come on fighting.
All right, so Guido Vianello, 13 months away, had surgery on his right hand. Prior to that fight, he had problems with calcium deposits on his left elbow, but he says, finally, I healed properly, did the therapy that I needed to do, and I want to prove why I am undefeated in my professional career, or unbeaten with 8 wins and 1 draw. Alongside Timothy Bradley, I'm Bernardo Osuna. The opponent is Rafael Rios, who had 3 consecutive fights won by knockout before losing against Carlos Negron in 2020. That was due to rabbit punches, he claims.
Guido right now is getting on his stick, and that means his jab. You know, you always want to try to establish your jab right out the gate and get to look at your opposition and see what he's trying to set up on you. But in the meantime, while you're trying to understand what he's doing, you're hitting him in the face with the jab.
Break.
Went back to his original amateur trainer, Simone D'Alessandrini. He says, I had 35 amateur fights with him, never lost. Didn't lose in my last fight when I came back from the draw against Kingsley Ibeh, and I don't plan on losing with him ever again. Ooh, that's a nice 1-2 setup by Vianello that Rios takes well.
Yeah, Rios has felt the power already. He's been hit a couple of times with that right hand from Guido. Guido, you gotta expect ring rust from him. He's been out for a very long time. You gotta get that feeling back and being under these bright lights. Gotta get his timing back as well. So it might take him a few rounds to get warmed up and start landing flush on Rios.
El Grande Rios, he did sparring with Stephen Shaw, who we saw has devastating punching power. And he is trained by Billy Moore, the son of the legendary Archie Moore at the ABC gym in San Diego. Anybody Can Youth Foundation, where El Grande is a peer counselor for troubled youth.
See, you can tell the ring rust because he's missing a lot of his big shots, Guido. You tell he's been out for a long time. Once he starts landing his punches,
like he did there.
Sea legs, yeah. That wide right hand right there, he needs to avoid doing that, especially moving forward in his career.
Yeah, Rios has also been off for 21 months, Tim. Guido trying to go to the body.
Very clean, come on.
There's that overhand right once again to the back of the ear of Rios.
Yeah, it's a chopping right hand. It's not straight. It's a chopping right hand he's trying to land on Rios.
His son Leo will be present for the first time in one of his fights. Watch his father live. He's 9 years old. And one of the biggest challenges for Javier Martinez is to get his son out of the streets of Milwaukee.
I hear a lot about sparring. I've been hearing a lot about sparring lately. You know, this guy got the best of this guy beat this guy. It's like, man, it's sparring, it's work. You know, when you're accumulating rounds, you know, over and over in training camp, week after week, you're having 3-day training camps, you know, 2-a-days. You're tired, you're losing weight, you're not at your full capacity, and then you bring a guy in that is not really getting ready for a fight. You know, he's amped, he's hyped up, especially a younger guy, and he might put hands on you that day. That's fine. It's not a big deal. And people will run off with that, and they think that they've done something in the sport. And it's like, okay, it's sparring, guys. It's not a real fight under the bright lights with 8-ounce gloves. So I'm sick of these guys trying to pat themselves on the back. I mean, I've had bad days in sparring. I have bad days all the time in sparring. But doesn't mean that guy can kick my behind in a real fight.
The other thing, too, is, hey, you may just be ramping up your camp, and that guy's in tip-top shape. You know, there's different stages. That day you might be working on something that has nothing to do with what that guy's bringing to the table.
Exactly. I mean, even for Floyd and Paul Spadafora back in the days when they sparred, you know, Spadafora got the best of them, but you see where Spadafora is, right? And you see where Floyd Mayweather is. Different.
Absolutely.
It's a huge difference.
You see where these guys are? They're hugging in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, both these guys are ring rust, honestly. That's what you're seeing. That's why a lot of guys are not, these guys are not landing cleanly with their offense because of ring rust, timing. You know, you got to get that feeling back. You got to get that range back. Oh, nice right hand right there. Landed right on the money.
And then he sets up a nice left hook. Does Guido Vianello, the right once again behind the ear of Rios. And I don't know if it's the way Rios ducks in. That's what he was saying was happening in his loss against Carlos Negron, getting caught with rabbit punches. But he kind of comes in and he exposes that ear.
Yes, he does. Most fighters nowadays, they default. It's almost like that no man's land. They lean on that back foot. They get themselves caught in mud. See, there it is again.
Absolutely.
And you have no way of avoiding that right hand.
And there is open once again for Vianello. Now, the right hand is landing, Tim, but what could Vianello do to set it up more properly? I guess we'll talk about that, you know, next round.
You got to blind him with something. You have to blind him with something. And Guido is loading up with his offense. That's the biggest issue. No confidence. You're only as good as your confidence, to be honest with you. You know, and he has skills, and he's shown that in the amateur circuit. Now he has to do it in the professional ranks.
Yeah, Martinez was a #1 ranked amateur middleweight in the United States, and he just wants to continue building on that pedigree. But someone was telling us the other day, it doesn't matter what you did in the amateurs once the headgear's off and the gloves are smaller and you're under the bright lights.
It is definitely a different feeling.
It's a new start.
Yes, it is. There's a little truth to that. There is a little truth to that. But that's not the whole truth.
Oh, there's that right hand from Guido Vianello once again.
Clubbing right hand right over the top. Guy getting in the same position. You know, when you're avoiding the right hand, you want to move the opposite way. So to avoid the right hand, you want to move your head left. Get your head up off the line. If you move your head right, you're running right into it. There it is again, moving his head right, looping right hand, just glazing blow, but still. And did you see Guido? I don't know. Something might be hurt with his hand. I don't understand.
The right hand?
I didn't like the way he looked right there.
I was about to comment the fact that he's using the right hand, but it's the way he's got it kind of cocked a little bit, you know, awkwardly. But he's letting it go. He's not using his legs as much as he said he was going to.
Yeah, Guido got that tennis background. He's a tennis player, so he does have some good legs and good movement. But he's too busy right now he's been a little bit too enamored with that right hand. He's throwing it, yes, he's looping it, but instead of throwing it looping, why don't you bring it underneath? The guy keeps leaning down.
Causing a bloody nose on Rios, but yeah, if your delivery system isn't having the desired effect, then try delivering it a different way. Maybe it'll give you different results. There's a looping left uppercut. Okay.
That was nice.
Yeah.
He turned it.
Set it up.
Nice little turn off the jab. You know, the jab hook combination is a shot a combination that I hardly see. There's the uppercut right there. Does some damage.
Now we're starting to see Guido open up, and you mentioned it earlier, Tim. It's the ring rust. It's the fact that you have to get that activity going again. The juices flowing and the confidence in your conditioning, and that right hand was very important for him.
It's more the technique right now for Guido that I'm having a problem with. That right hand, if it was straighter, I think it'll find a home on the chin as opposed to behind the head.
You see flurry of punches there from Guido Vianello at the conclusion of this third round. All of them finding a home on the face of Rafael Rios.
Yeah, it's a good strategy because he hit him up top with, you know, everything pretty much, and he's still here. Rios is still here. He's a tough guy. So test him down to the body.
Guido used to be in the big guy. Same height here with Rafael Rios. That's why they call him El Grande, the big guy. Got that while playing basketball. And he said, another player said, my name's Rafael. He's like, no, you're El Grande. So that's where the nickname comes from. And El Grande has a 3-inch reach advantage over Guido Vianello at 82 inches. but he can take a shot because once again, Vianello lands with that looping right hand.
Move your head. It's like, can somebody yell at Rios and let him know, move your head, kid. It's unbelievable. I mean, Rios, I understand he's a tough guy. He can take the shot, but man, why continue to get hit with the same punch, the right hand over and over and over? He sees the punch coming. That's why there's no effect on it. He sees it coming. He just, I don't know, lazy, out of position, not to be able to get his head off the line.
What a stick there from Vianello. Why? Because as you mentioned, the head is not moving. Sometimes you got to give him a little help and move it yourself.
Right. He saw that punch coming again.
There's a left hook from Vianello. There's that jab. You said he's got to blind him and come with something behind it. Now Vianello putting punches together here in round 4.
Yeah, you see the conditioning. Oh, nice right hand. That was a pull right hand right there. We pulled back, got out of the range, tad bit. He appeared to be in range, but then swoop, pulled back, pulled his body, upper body back, and boom, come back with the right hand. But
there's that stick once again.
But the conditioning right here of Vianello, you can see when you're out of the ring for a very long time, no matter how hard you work, man, under these bright lights and full intensity, going 110% inside the ring, definitely draining.
Ooh, he was holding and landed an uppercut.
Nice spin and turn right there. Good footwork right there from Vianello.
Now Vianello setting up his shots here against Rafael Rios.
He's framing those shots. Oh, that's the uppercut. That's what I was talking about.
Punch variety is on the menu for Guido Vianello. He wants to make Rios get some spaghetti legs here.
You ready to go?
There's a quick combination. Down goes Rios from that flurry of punches from Guido Vianello. Will he beat the count?
6, 7,
it's over.
9.
And Rafael Rios just barely gets up, but he was in no condition to continue after beating the count. I mean,
not at all.
It was a beatdown.
Look at his body control right here, head control right there from Vianello. That's a veteran move right there.
Illegal.
Boom, line up that uppercut. Yeah, well, you call it what you want to call it. I mean, there's the greats, they do it. They know how to do it. Looping right hand, you see the high guard right there, or the half guard. Cross guard coming from Rios. Vianello just taking advantage of all the openings. Down to the body. You know, it's just a matter of time before Rios took enough punishment over the course of this fight.
Let's send it up to Mark Chinook for the official time.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside Grand Casino Hinckley, referee Tyrone Roberts calls a stop to this bout at 2 minutes, 59 seconds of round number 4. For your winner by technical knockout, Guido, the Gladiator Vianello.
Had issues with his left elbow before his last fight. Ligaments in his right hand, needed surgery before this fight, but he gets the knockout. Just a second shy of the end of round number 4. Gets his 9th victory as a pro. And Guido Vianello comes back triumphantly. All right, let's send it up to Joe.